If your yard turns into a swamp every time it rains, you've probably just chalked it up to being a pain. But that soggy ground, that muddy mess, it's way more than that. It's actually a huge warning sign for some of your property's most critical and expensive systems. So let's get into what your yard is really trying to tell you. So, does that sound a little too familiar? That standing water isn't just a nuisance that's killing your grass. It could be a major red flag, pointing to a much bigger, much more costly problem that's hiding just beneath the surface. And it's threatening the two things you really don't want to mess with: your home's foundation and your septic system. All right, so first things first, you've got to know what to look for. When your yard just can't drain properly, it starts showing some really clear signs of distress. And believe me, these are not just little cosmetic issues. They're clues to a much deeper drainage problem. And what's really important to get is how all of these signs are connected. I mean, none of them happen in a vacuum. If you're seeing water pulling up against your house, well, that's probably related to why your sinks are gurgling after a big storm. These are all classic symptoms of a yard that is just completely overwhelmed. Look, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple problem. Your property just can't get rid of water fast enough. And that extra water, well, it has to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it's heading right for the two things you want to protect the most: your foundation and your septic system. But all that stuff you can see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real danger, the one that can lead to an absolute catastrophe, is what's happening underground. And it's something most homeowners never even think about until it's way too late. This right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. You see, a septic drain field isn't just some pit for wastewater. It's a living, breathing, biological system. It literally needs oxygen in the soil to break down waste properly. When that soil is constantly soaked, the whole system just suffocates. It can't breathe, and it starts to fail. And once that suffocation starts, it kicks off this whole chain reaction, a domino effect, really. First, you might get backups in your house. Then the constant stress just wears the system out, shortening its lifespan. Eventually, you could even see nasty wastewater pooling on your lawn. And the worst case scenario? Total system collapse. We're talking a repair bill that could easily hit tens of thousands of dollars. So here's the bottom line. Once that drain field is flooded, its entire purpose to safely filter and treat wastewater is over. It stops working, period. And that creates a serious health and environmental hazard right in your own backyard. Okay. I know that sounds pretty dire, but the good news is there is an incredibly smart engineered solution for this. And this isn't about just getting rid of a few puddles. This is about actively protecting your home's most vital systems for the long haul. So what exactly is a French drain? Well, you can think of it like an underground highway for water. It's this cleverly designed trench system that basically intercepts groundwater, collects it, and channels it far away from those critical areas like your foundation and your septic field. It might sound complicated, but how it works is actually pretty brilliant in its simplicity. First, a trench is dug with a very, very precise slip. Then, a special perforated pipe is laid inside, and it's surrounded by gravel, which acts as a big filter. As groundwater seeps in, it flows into the pipe, and gravity just carries it safely away. It's an elegant solution to a very messy problem. And the benefits? Oh, they are huge. You're not just getting rid of the swamp in your yard. You are finally giving your septic drain field the dry, oxygen-rich soil it desperately needs to work right. You're taking all that water pressure off your foundation. You're actually extending the life of your septic system. And hey, you even get a healthier lawn out of the deal. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hey, I'm handy. I could probably knock this out in a weekend. But hold on. When your septic system is in the mix, the stakes get a whole lot higher. Let's break down why going with a pro isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. And this really spells it out, right? On one side, you have the common DIY pitfalls. Get the slope wrong and you can actually make the water problem worse. Use the wrong kind of gravel and the whole thing clogs up. But the professional process? We're talking laser levels for perfect slope, soil testing, carefully locating every part of your septic system, and using the right materials for the job. One path leads to more headaches, the other leads to a permanent fix. It really comes down to this: your septic system is just too expensive and too important to gamble with. A badly installed drain can actually do more harm than good, maybe even damaging the very system you're trying to save. It is just not the place to cut corners. So let's stop thinking about this as just another home repair cost. A properly installed French drain isn't an expense, it's an investment. It's a proactive move you make to protect the health, the safety, and, frankly, the value of your biggest asset, your home. So what's the return on that investment? Well, for starters, you're looking at potentially saving tens of thousands of dollars on replacing a failed drain field. You're preventing foundation cracks. You're getting your yard back, a yard that isn't a breeding ground for mosquitoes. But maybe the biggest return of all? That incredible peace of mind you get every single time you see rain in the forecast. When you really add it all up, the massive costs you're avoiding, the safety you're gaining, it becomes crystal clear. A professionally installed French drain is truly one of the most intelligent, forward-thinking improvements you can make for your home. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time a storm rolls through, go look out your window. Is your yard handling that water, protecting your home, or is it sending out a distress signal? Because the answer to that question says a whole lot about the future health and value of your entire property.